Hi everyone, I'm Safira and welcome to my vlog. Hello! I'm back to do another academic vlog as one of the requirements to pass my final test. So, today's topic is about intercultural. Some might know this topic and some might not. Therefore, those of you who are not familiar with this topic or you have not understood it, come and join me. First of all, to let you all know, I will explain several cases one by one gradually and analyze them so we all could have a better understanding. Okay, this takes too long. Let's just begin. Number 1. Imagine yourself being a Japanese who live in the United States for 23 years. You will come to Indonesia for around 1 to 2 years and you have to start of people in every country speaks English since it is an international language. So you don't have any worries to come to Indonesia because you think they can speak English. However, when you arrive there, it is completely out of your expectations. No one can speak English. You cry. You feel scared. You feel confused about how to communicate. How to order food when you are hungry and it is night already. You are still having a jet lag and you are worried about how to get a medicine when you feel sick. Reality does not meet expectations. Let's analyze it. You know, some people have this kind of thought. People who live in every part of this world speak English. Because me too. This is one of the reasons why I take this major, English literature. I guess I can understand why some people have expectations when they come to other countries. In fact, we all have expectations, not only when we visit a new country, but also when we are about to go in a new company, in a new school, new tutor class, or even our new friend's house. But if our expectation is wrong, why we have all these mixed emotions, either crying, scared, confused? Why? According to page 1993, the psychological intensity is most likely to be heightened when the sojourner has more unrealistic expectations of the host culture. Yes, it is definitely because too much expectations will result in too much disappointments. Interestingly, just because we have read the information or the facts of the host culture, it does not mean that we will not have any expectations. We still have it, even a small one. I understand that our brain created the expectations, so it is impossible to erase it. The last thing we can do is to limit our expectations and do not feel too confident about it. Number 2. Now imagine yourself a Korean that work as the CEO of a company in Indonesia. Half of your employees are Koreans and half of them are Indonesians. First, you told one of the Indonesian employees to send a file of the company's stock data to your email. You waited for 1 hour, 2 hours, and you still haven't received any files. Then you told one of the Korean employees to send the same file to your email, and you immediately received it within 5 minutes. However, you do not feel angry about this because you understand that Indonesians might have a different concept of working. Let's talk about it. So, the you person or the Korean CEO here is not annoyed nor angry about the behavior of the employee. We all realize that. If I was the you person, I will definitely scold the employee. No, even a better one. I have a better one. The majority of Indonesians will be angry with the employee if they are put in the same situation. Why? Because the person keeps me waiting for hours. And I could not tolerate that kind of annoying situation. So why the you person, which is a Korean, could tolerate this? This is related to the psychological intensity of the sojourner. Page 1993 argued that if the sojourner harbored a negative behavior or the negative attitude towards the cultural differences, it is most likely that the level of psychological intensity to be heightened. Here, the Korean CEO or the sojourner have no negative attitudes towards the cultural differences, which means that the level of psychological intensity that the sojourner or the Korean CEO here has is lesser. It's there, it's not gone, but it's lesser. This is very challenging because to hold your rage and still giving positive attitude towards other people, even with the same cultural identity. But let's put this point in our mind that we always need to give a high tolerance to other people, especially when we are in a different cultural setting. Number 3. Now put yourself in a setting where you are an Indonesian who live in Australia. You are married to an Australian man. You are at a party of your husband's friends. Suddenly, there is one woman or man who call you by using the upper side hand gestures like this. You feel annoyed and offended. This is pretty fun to talk about. So, the sojourner or the you person, that is a she here, is not annoyed because she is married or any unrelated things to the culture. Remember that we are talking about intercultural. You probably will feel the same way as her or differently. If I was her, I will not feel annoyed about it. I have seen the hand gestures for so many times in the movie, so I have the bigger knowledge of it. Now, why she feels annoyed and offended? That's the question. According to page 1993, the psychological intensity is most likely to be heightened when the sojourner feels like he or she is not getting the respect that he or she deserves. Yes, she feels that the hand gestures is disrespectful. In Indonesia, when we call other people, we use the downside hand gestures like this. It is considered a polite hand gestures in most Indonesians' eyes, rather than this one. This is very interesting because not only language that could offend people, but the moment when we move our body parts in an ambiguous way, it could create a misunderstandings that we never expected. That is why I think we should be more careful in behaving, especially when we just enter the different culture setting. Number 4. Imagine you got a chance to join a university, an international university, and study for 1 semester as an exchange student. You do not want to be an essentialist, you want to be a non-essentialist. So you do not want to think that one person is a Korean, a Chinese, or an American just by looking at the way they dress or their physical appearance. Let's analyze it one more time. You don't want to stereotype others in keeping your role as a non-essentialist. Even though a stereotype is not a good thing, it also could be used to understand one's culture. According to Holm, 1976, a culture is like an iceberg. Most of the iceberg's part is invincible, below the water level. So we can only see the top sides of the iceberg. Let's relate that to stereotype. When we see other people by looking at the way they dress or their physical appearance, we only see the top sides, the upper side of the iceberg. We see the bigger picture of someone's culture, and it is okay. Because then after that we will dive into the water to see the rest of the iceberg. We are not going to stop in stereotyping. This is very interesting because we do not want to be an essentialist, but we could use stereotyping to understand somebody's culture. I understand that we need to understand someone's culture in a bigger picture first, before we finally touch the core of it. In conclusion, in a different cultural setting, we will have a different experience and bewilderment about certain cultures. It will not be the same as others, so we could not generalize it. Like, you could not generalize your experience later on when you are in the intercultural or a different cultural setting just because you have heard 4 cases that I've introduced to you. It will not be the same. The bewilderment that you will feel is personal. So it's based on you as an individual. Intercultural is like the different identity markers of a person in a different cultural setting that we need to understand and we need to respect. Like what we have done in the video, we analyzed them so we can understand. We could make sense of what happened. A person is considered interculturally competent not because one should act or talk positively to others in a different cultural setting, but it's all about the process. We have the adjustment stage, like the U model of culture shock and adjustment stages by Obert, 1954-1960. We need to have certain stages to reach the competency we need, and to practice it we need to experience intercultural so we could also reflect to it. So what are the lessons for today relating to the concept of intercultural? First, we need to avoid any high expectations whenever we visit a different cultural setting. Learn about the culture of a certain place first, before we confidently jump into our expectation. So at least we have a realistic expectations. Second, we need to have a high tolerance towards other people, especially those who have a different culture with us. Because most times we do not know the complete identity of a person, so we should not judge them too fast. Third, we need or we have to be more careful in everything we do. Watch our behavior in a different cultural setting or in front of other people who have different cultures, in order to avoid any misunderstandings that can lead to any hard feelings or offending the person. Fourth, and the most reliable, is when we meet a person with different cultures, we need to get to know the person first. starting by a small step of stereotyping, but only do that in your head, inside your head. Then you can get to know them more by talking to them or observing them closely. Alright, thank you for watching. I hope you find this video useful and you now have a better understanding of what intercultural is. See you at my next video.
I'm an icon, man. And my girl about a 10. I should fuck her in a Benz.